Hi everyone, it's Mark. I'm a therapist and I'm back with another one of my mental health videos. Today we're going to be covering a topic that many of you have probably wondered and thought about before, and that topic is, what is therapy? So probably the thing that is the most important to understand about therapy is the idea of confidentiality. Basically, what confidentiality means is that everything you say to a therapist in private in their office stays private. The therapist doesn't tell anybody else. They won't talk about what you say to their friends or your friends. They're not going to say anything to other people in your community or your family. Everything you say to a therapist in a session with them is only between you and the therapist. Now, that being said, there are three things that a therapist cannot keep private. And these are legal things that a therapist have to tell another person. All right? The first, number one, is if you tell a therapist that you are planning to attempt suicide. All right? The second one is if you tell a therapist that you are planning to hurt or kill another person. And the third one is if you tell a therapist about a child that's being abused or neglected. Other than those three main things, everything you say to a therapist remains confidential and private and only between you and the therapist. So you might wonder what actually happens when you sit down in front of a therapist in their office. Well, first and foremost, the therapist is going to listen to you. They're going to listen to you without judgment. They're not going to criticize you. They're not going to tell you that you're wrong or what you're doing is bad. They're just going to listen to you and really try to understand what you have to say and understand what your life looks like. In addition to that, they'll probably ask you a lot of questions. They'll ask you questions to help them understand better, to clarify what you mean, to help you clarify what you mean, and get you to think about things in different ways and feel things in different ways. A therapist may also sometimes teach you skills and abilities and strategies to manage stress or communicate better with loved ones or stop negative thoughts and change them to more positive thinking, help you learn how to breathe better and reduce, your heart rate and things like that. A therapist can also help you find solutions to your problems that are the best fit for you, that fit with your life and your values, that fit with your beliefs and your goals. A therapist can also teach you about what's happening in your brain and body when you get under stress or when you experience anxiety, when you experience depression, and things like that. Most therapists are not going to just give you advice and expect you to follow it. And that gets me into my next point, is what a therapist doesn't do. A therapist is not going to tell you the way you should live their life or should live your life. They're not going to tell you that the way you live your life or what you do is bad or wrong. They're not going to fix you. Fundamentally, therapists believe you're not broken, so there is nothing to fix. A therapist also won't diagnose you with a mental illness or prescribe you medication. That's only something that a psychiatrist can do. So why do people go to therapy? I'll start by saying why people don't go to therapy. It's very rare to see people in therapy who are crazy. So when I say that, I mean people you might think who hear voices or walk down the street and talk to themselves or have hallucinations and things like that. That is very, very uncommon to see in therapy. The people who suffer from those things do best when they have medication and they have supportive people in their family and community. But generally, a therapist can't help people with that. Ultimately, people come to therapy because what they're experiencing and going through in their lives is too much. They don't know how to deal with it, and the things that they normally go to for help, such as family members, mentors, activities that they used to do, and other things aren't helping them anymore. They don't seem to be making any impact, and the advice that they're getting don't seem to be helping. That's when people come to therapy. So what do I, as a therapist, usually see when people come to therapy? I would say 90% of the people that I see are dealing with anxiety, depression, and relationship problems. Relationship problems could mean between two spouses. It could be between a parent and a child, even if that child is a young child or an adult child, or between people and their parents or other family members or friends. These three things, anxiety, depression, and relationship problems, take up 90% of my clients. People also come to therapy because they might feel like they don't have anybody else to talk to. Somebody who isn't going to judge them, who isn't going to tell them that they're crazy or that they just need to drink more water or pray more or get more exercise or things like that. People will come to see the therapist for somebody who isn't going to dismiss what they're thinking and feeling. Another reason people come to therapy a lot is because of trauma. Now, trauma is a really large topic, and I'm not going to get into specifics about that here, but essentially trauma is just a major event or series of events that overwhelms a person's ability to cope. Trauma usually involves like childhood abuse or neglect, going through war or famine, getting into a major car accident or other kind of injury and accident, and things like that. And finally, the thing that's common to see for me as the therapist are people struggling with grief and loss. Usually that means losing someone to death. So whether that be a parent or a child or someone close to them, even friends or other family members, that is also very common for me to see in therapy. Now, these are things that everybody goes through at some point in their life. Thank you everybody for watching my video. I really appreciate the time that you take to listen and absorb the information that I provide to you. I look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye.